Hey,
Hi.
I get to see you twice in a few hours. Hey, Randy.
Oh,
How are you guys? I'm
Good.
tired.
Yeah,
Actually being in person is exhausting, right? I'm trying to cover up the hole in the wall. I get thrown to the basement when I have these meetings, and the basement's kind of cold, but we have a little heater. So I'm sitting on the floor with my computer on the heater with the air just coming right at me.
I have to confess, when I was cooking dinner tonight, I opened the oven door just to get warm for a while. When you're standing next to the stove, it just
Mm-hmm. So
so
good.
so much better than that 18 degrees outside.
Yep.
All right. I'm not sure if Karen's joining us tonight or not. So I'll just say hi, everybody, and welcome. It's good to see you again. As everybody probably already heard, the big news in New Hampshire is that starting tomorrow, there is a statewide mask mandate. So I know that Grantham has had a mask mandate for a while, but now this is statewide and a step in the right direction, especially since we exceeded 500 new cases today from the report. I think it was 529. So this is a good step towards making sure that we don't forget about flattening the curve, as we've talked about. And I went over some holiday guidance last week, but I'll do it again. We really are discouraging people from traveling. It's just going to be much safer on this holiday to just stay home. And I know that that means altering some holiday plans, but in the long run, I think we all know it'll probably be better to take that route instead of taking those other unnecessary risks right now. If you do wind up traveling outside of New England, just as a quick reminder, your kids will need to quarantine for 14 days when they return. You will all need to quarantine for 14 days when you return, or the state has a new update where you can quarantine for 7 days and then you can take a COVID test. And if it's negative, then you can come out of quarantine at that point. So if you have any other questions, it probably your best bet would be to contact Karen Islander directly, to see if she has any other information that you may need with your children's maybe specific circumstances, if you need that. And other than that, I'm going to check in with everybody, but I also wanted to remind everybody that we won't be here next Thursday for our parent check-in, and that I hope everybody has a really wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. So, Chris, why don't you take it from here?
Well, it's a good segue because with the change in Thanksgiving plans, I think that we are seeing an increase in anxiety among our kids. And I just think it has a lot to do with probably the increase of COVID numbers and perhaps overhearing discussions or maybe watching some media. It could be they're also picking up on parent anxiety or other anxiety around them. Also, with the uncertainty of holidays and not being the same as it usually is, that can cause a lot of anxiety there. I think it's important to validate that it's not going to feel the same, and that could feel sad. But also then move on to let's brainstorm some ways that we can still stay connected and still have a good time, even though the holiday is going to be different.
Thanks. Randy, how are things with you?
things are good. Everybody's chugging along, doing good. Adjusting, I think, to the 4-day routine, which is also good. One trend that we've noticed is now that people are back for 4 days, they're getting a lot more comfortable with their equipment and are starting to test some boundaries as was expected. So there's a few things that we're doing that will hopefully help curb some of the behavior that's not really good. One of the things is that we have turned off the chat function for all the students, because now that they are in school 4 days, the need for them to be chatting back and forth officially with teachers about schoolwork and that sort of thing has kind of gone away. Just a basic reminder to families that all the equipment we provide and the accounts we provide are all aimed at education stuff. And so in order to help us to reinforce that with the kids, one of the things I'm going to ask parents to do, because typically we don't assign homework on computers on days that they're in school, is to, when you get the computers home, plug them in, charge them up, turn them off. They really shouldn't be being used for social media, browsing on YouTube, playing games, those sorts of things. They're intended as school devices. So obviously that's different on Wednesdays, but that's really what I'm hoping is that people will use those for school stuff only. So just a reminder too to parents to refresh with your kids to stay safe, respectful, responsible when they're online. And we have 3 basic rules we ask students to follow with computers. One is always ask permission before you go online. Only talk to people you know in the real world, and only go to places that are just right for you. So as long as they're doing those 3 things, I think we're pretty happy overall with what they're doing. So, and I too don't want to just disparage every kid in school either, because they're all doing a great job. I think it's just a few folks who are kind of letting loose a little bit, and I think it's helpful for everybody just to remember that and just keep an eye on it, keep a handful on it. So, other than that, everybody, I think we should have a great Thanksgiving coming up. You're still muted, Sydney.
Sorry, thank you. Kristen.
Yeah, so I just want to piggyback on Randy's for a minute, and the part only talk to people in the real world on technology, I think is really important. It's come up a couple times just this week that I've heard students telling teachers, and the teachers have addressed it, but talking about their friends on TikTok or their friends on whatever app. And, I think most of the time their conversation is completely innocent, but remembering we don't know what's happening on the other end of that computer. So just making sure we're really careful about that, I think, is important. So thanks, Randy. Within the school building, there's not a lot of changes from last week. Everyone's working super hard, teachers and students. We do have some reports that children are forgetting about the 6-foot distancing, which is understandable. They're excited to be together and they're getting comfortable with being together. And but just family reminders, and we're doing school reminders to keep that 6-foot distancing, just to keep everyone safe. So as anticipated in terms of schedules and curriculum, we have had some bumps going into 4 days because it's a change, but everyone's been great at problem solving and being flexible and adapting to those changes. So that's been nice to see. And to echo Sydney, I think everyone's looking forward to Thanksgiving break, even though it is going to be a little bit different. Next week, or this week on tomorrow, you'll get a newsletter and a podcast from me, but next week, there's not going to be one at all. So it'll be another week after that.
And Kristen, if I heard correctly today at our other meeting, there are some kids who think that there's no school at all next week. So
that's what I heard.
we can remind kids, families, that we do have school Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. And we hope to see all the kids.
Karen.
I don't have much to add. Everybody's doing well. I think I only called like 4 parents about the back to school self-assessment this morning. One of which I don't think I talked to all year long. So I get that there's one-offs all the time. We had a discussion. I had a staff member ask me about balaclavas, the face masks where you can only see this much of the face out at recess, if that was good enough to substitute for a mask. It's not. I'm not going to have the recess monitors checking the material strength or how many layers there is of every balaclava that's out there. So they need to have a mask in addition to scarf or balaclava or whatever they have to keep them warm. out at recess. So just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, I hope everybody has a safe Thanksgiving just with your family. Please be honest if you travel outside of New England, or if there's any concerns, let us know. But yeah, stay safe.
Karen, I'm impressed you could say balaclava correctly once, let alone 3 times.
I think maybe over Thanksgiving we might be making some baklava, because that's what I keep thinking of.
You can do both. You can wear one and make and eat the other, right? Does anybody who's with us tonight have any questions or comments for us? Okay.
Sydney,
Does the New Hampshire mask mandate change anything for GBS? No. We've already had our own mask mandate from the beginning. So we will continue with our protocols as they are.
Sydney, I do want to give a shout out to the GPTG for the wonderful gift of the Rain-X stuff for our glasses. It tested it out today at the car line this afternoon. It worked like a champ. It was great. I could actually see all the parents as they were coming in with their cars. So it was fabulous. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
So Randy, just so you know, the GPTG, I can't even say it, does amazing stuff, but that was a parent gift from someone else.
Oh, parent gift. Well, the parent, thank you. We love you. That was wonderful.
We can all see clearly now. Question in the Q&A. If we travel to JFK to pick up somebody and drive right back, do we need to quarantine? I think technically it's a yes, isn't it, Karen? Because it wouldn't be considered essential travel, and
They're driving there, they're not getting gas, they're not stopping for food, they're not leaving their car.
no bathroom stop.
No bathroom stops, nothing like that.
I don't know if that would be possible to JFK and back, but I think if you have any public access outside of New England, is that how it reads? Like any bathroom, any restaurant, any gas stop, anything like that, it would be a quarantine?
Can I speak just to Ian maybe? Is it just one person going? Is it the whole family? And what does Dartmouth say also? I'm just wondering, because if it's just one person driving back and forth, then the rest of the family does not need to quarantine. I would suggest just one of you go. Yeah.
Yeah, he said it was just him. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, the kids don't need to quarantine, and you can do what you want.
So Elizabeth, I'm assuming you're speaking to today, for example. It says when special teachers are out, is it possible for kids to get outside to run around instead of staying inside? So today, unfortunately, we had a special teacher out, and we couldn't get a sub for that person. So there were no specials. At that point, it's up to the classroom teacher what they do with the students at that time, because it's really impacting their classes. So when that happens, unfortunately, the classroom teachers don't get a break all day. So it's really dependent on what works with their schedule. And we can do a shout out to them that is recommended, but I don't think I can mandate that.
Yeah, in situations we've had like this, Kristen, I believe that means that the only thing that teacher would have is actually some time to eat lunch. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah.
Correct.
How far is it to JFK? I've never been. No, it's 6 hours. Oh. Yeah, that is kind of far.
Probably 8 with traffic on Thanksgiving.
Too long not to stop and go to the bathroom.
My daughter is just accepted to a college in New York. So now I'm like, okay, so when can we tour?
Are they doing tours?
I don't know, but even like, we can't even like just drive there to like walk around on our own, can we?
Well, you can, but you have to quarantine.
Yeah.
We were actually talking about with Parker in colleges, finding people we know who live around there and just shipping them to them, because the state is allowing for kids to go on college visits and then giving them grace at school for their quarantine time. So we're like, we can just ship them out to somebody.
And then FaceTime with him the whole time, because I really enjoyed seeing the colleges. And like the one that John didn't go to with our oldest, I really loved. But he wasn't that excited about it because he didn't really get to see it. So that makes a difference.
Cost, dear.
And cost.
Okay. Let's see. Two-part question. How is it going finding subs? It's still pretty rough, honestly. So if we can get some word of mouth out there still, we would appreciate it. We did have one new application in the last couple of weeks, and we're happy about every single one. So, but more is always going to be better. And if you aren't able to find a sub and a class needs to go remote for the day, how will we find out? So if we have any kind of closure, you'll get the bright arrow notification like we would usually do for any kind of snow day or any kind of big important student announcement. So that we try and reserve that system for alert, the big alerts and alert messaging. So you'll get however you signed up for bright arrow, phone, email, text, or all three, that's how you'll find out.
And just for some reassurance, we're doing everything in our power not to allow that to happen. We have had instances that we've been without one or even two subs in a day, and we're just kind of moving people around. I've subbed. I think Karen's gone into classrooms. We're just, all hands on deck. So we're trying to make that not happen. So hopefully it won't.
And Mr. Beachy's been subbing too.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he loves it.
Another question. I've heard from several friends in New Hampshire that their schools are moving to full remote from Thanksgiving till after the new year to curb the spread of people who will travel. Is this on the table for GVS at this time? So at this time, no. We did a poll of our community about people traveling, and we didn't have a really big response of anybody planning to travel outside of New England. And I'm hopeful that even those who said way back when we did that may have been traveling, that maybe they're changing their plans at this point to stay closer to home. Our numbers, we believe, in Grantham and in Sullivan County still warrant being open. And so our plan is to do what we can to remain open. I will have to say, though, that if this surge continues, if things start to change in Sullivan County, as always, there's the option that we may get to the point where we feel it's going to be safer for the community to temporarily go remote. But as of right now, we are sticking to our calendar.
Also, just to put out there, if you are planning on traveling or you have friends that are planning on traveling, remind them to fill out the form for, what is it? It's like a green sheet or something, so that the teachers can prepare. You need to fill it out 2 weeks in advance before you travel. It gives the teachers time to prepare some work for you to do so the kids can still get credit for while they're gone.
Let's see. Crystal says, can we list a few things about being a sub? Maybe someone on this call might be interested if they knew it wasn't that scary. It's a lot like volunteering, and you can pick what you say yes to, but subbing would help keep the school open. Right. So actually, it's not scary, it's fun. So Kristen, do you want to describe a little bit about what the day in the life of a sub might be?
Sure. And it depends on who you're subbing for. If you're subbing for, well, anybody you sub for is going to leave you very detailed sub plans. Classroom teacher sub plans are probably a little bit more in depth than a paraeducator sub plans. Very often, though, our paraeducators are so in tune with what's happening in the classrooms that very often the teacher will have the sub kind of help the para, and the para will lead the class. It just depends on the classroom. I think it's really fun. I love going into the classrooms. You can decline anything. So what happens is we have an app or a program called Frontline, and the teacher puts in for an absence, or I put in for their absence, and the subs get a call, and you can decline the sub position, or you can accept the sub position. And you'll know exactly what the position is. So I know that there are some people who only want to sub for primary grades, or only want to do intermediate grades, or somebody who doesn't want to do PE. And you know ahead of time, and you can just say no, and there's no face-to-face interaction, so you don't feel bad about that. It's super safe and fun. And there's a lot of support. There's most of the time other adults in the classroom to help out, and they know the classroom. And if not, there's a door that you can open into the classroom next door, and the other teachers are super helpful and happy to help as well.
Just to let everybody know, some of the logistics before you sub is that you do need to fill out an application with the SAU office, and you do have to go through the full background and fingerprinting check. So there are a few steps to take before we can actually get you into those classrooms and working with kids, but it is well worth it. You get to spend a day at GVS with kids and you get paid. So there couldn't be much, that's better than that.
Maybe we should throw in like a free cafeteria meal.
That would be
absolutely.
A little food bribery.
I kind of expected someone to type in, "I'll take it."
We have baked goods being offered. That will help.
I've had her baked goods. It's worth it.
All right. Oh, thank you for the awesome job with Caroline. Well, it's everybody you're looking at here, Randy's system with Google, and Kristen and Karen and Chris's organization. And if Lynn Wallace were on with us, with Lynn and her megaphone and getting kids, like it really is a big team effort. I'm sure you all love seeing Mr. Pollard greeting you all out there happily. So it has been great, thanks to the amazing GVS crew.
Yeah, we've been like ending at like 3:15 and we still have kids left over and there's no cars and like at all. Like, but yeah, aim for 3:10 and I think you'll be golden.
Yeah.
Okay, but not everybody, like most of them.
We were saying today that there are a couple of parents who have shared with me that they've found their total sweet spot. Exactly the minute to drive in, no waiting.
It's good. It is like a well-oiled machine now.
Don't be afraid of the buckle lane. If you take a little bit of time, just request the buckle lane as you're coming through, and we'll shepherd you right into the middle, and you can take all the time you like to buckle and you won't bother anybody. It's a nice little feature.
I was wondering today, do you think the buckle lane will stay even after COVID times?
It's a good lane to have.
It might make the cut and earn a permanent home.
Maybe. What do you think, Randy? You're like the Caroline guru.
I think that's fine. I don't know if we're going to still need to go collect names and all that in the future, but maybe we will. So yeah, the buckle lane is critical to keeping that line moving.
Yep.
So yeah, don't be shy about it, folks. If you think you need the time, take it.
We have, mine can now buckle himself, but is slow moving, so it's great. I'd keep it.
Alleviate some of that stress.
The first day with the buckle lane, I was out there and I was asking parents as they came in, do you have any little ones who need help buckling? And you could tell that there was like a pride in those whose kids didn't need help buckling, but they also really wanted to use the buckle lane. Like there was a little bit of being torn there.
Well, it doesn't mean that mom and dad need to buckle them in. It means they just have the time to do it. You know, I mean, even if you got one that's kind of slow getting in the car, that's okay too. Or you got a car full of kids. That's the other one. You know, I know there's one that's basically its own little bus that's there.
I know I've been thinking of getting them some decals.
Yeah, for sure. Or the lights on the top or something.
And sometimes it's just the doors are so heavy that those little aren't like little kindergarten arms are like, eh.
We have just want to thank you all for your hard work and constant positivity. Our kids are so happy at school, and a huge reason is because of the attitude of all the adults at GVS bring to school every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you as well. GVS is truly an amazing place. All right. Well, I think that'll be it for tonight then. And it'll be it for a couple of weeks. So again, I hope everybody really has some relaxing, good time at home. Take a really good break. We can all take a deep breath and enjoy.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.